So the store offered me to make me a sandwich. She showed me that I can take a fresh roll, and they have sliced meats, like a package of meat where they slice it for you fresh there, and she can make me a sandwich. But I'm really looking for more of a restaurant style, where I can sit down and, this says that I can go 34 kilometers that way and get to Satoral Chalet, hard to pronounce. To get to Segi, 3 kilometers. We're going to go this way towards the river. We'll show you the river. We'll do a little walk along or on the river. This is just an exploration, I set out this morning hoping I'm going to go get pizza. But first of all, there weren't any restaurants in town. They're all kind of far. And second of all, none of them are even open up this early. So I just went out to explore. And I found the Wi-Fi place, a bar. It's called like the Wi-Fi bar. And they serve alcohol and coffee. So that's what I got, an alcoholic coffee. Then I stopped at a gas station just to see what they have there. Also, there was no sandwiches, but I got 2 beers. I drank one of them. Here's the other. And now I'm just going to walk back in the general direction. I'm going to go to, there's a phone store there. I have to go top up my SIM, add money to my SIM card so I can have internet. I have Wi-Fi in the place where I'm staying, and where the Jewish food place is, there's also Wi-Fi. But I really want to have internet on my card. I'm only going to be here another 4 days maximum probably. By Monday I'll probably be flying out. Probably back to Tel Aviv, I'm not sure exactly where's the river, but it should be right beyond these trees. There should be the river. I don't know what's this. It looks like it might be like a trail. I don't know. For now I'm going to keep on this trail. It's fun to explore another country in different cities, especially where you feel safe. In Ukraine, because people are so hostile, I didn't feel safe walking around by myself. Although I did walk around by myself when I needed to, I didn't feel comfortable doing so. I preferred to be with a friend, or in a large group. Because in Ukraine, people are hostile. They have a history of hostility and a history of violence. The Ukrainians are notorious, which means famous for being wicked and evil in this regard. They're very violent people, especially towards Jews. Ukrainians have a long history of bloody massacres against Jews. And to this day, you can feel it walking around Ukraine as a Jew. I don't look particularly Jewish. I don't wear the Jewish clothing. But I'm telling you, they pick up on it, and I've received a lot of hatred and a lot of hostility for no reason from Ukrainians. So I have a lot of appreciation and love towards Ukraine. My son, Shiloh, hi Shiloh. Shiloh has blood from Ukraine because, his grandmother is from Ukraine, and his great-grandparents. So I'm not anti-Ukrainian. But the facts remain. Ukrainians are wicked, violent, hostile people. And I'm surprised that Jews ever even made it and lived in Ukraine. Yeah, they were massacred a lot. But the fact that they even survived and there's any Jewish remains in Ukraine is very wild to me. Ukrainians are really wicked people. And I believe the Ukrainians deserve the war they're getting. Right now in Ukraine, I'm saying they kidnap young boys off the street and force them to go die in a war that's really just a war over language. These Ukrainians don't want to speak Russian, so they're fighting against Russia so that the Russians don't take over Ukraine. But really, Ukraine should be taken over by Russia. I'm saying Ukraine doesn't manage the country well. I'm telling you, the roads are full of holes. No one's really happy in Ukraine. I'm saying Ukraine is really a shit country. It's really a shit country. It's a third world country, and it's barely alive. Russia, on the other hand, I don't have any experience in Russia. I think I might have once been there in the airport for a few hours, but I don't really have experience in Russia. But from what I know about Russians and Russia, Russia is a first world country. Their roads work. You know, they're not anti-Jews for no reason. Yes, there have been instances of violence and hostility against Jews. And during communism, they didn't allow us at all, actually, to practice our Judaism. And they would put us in jail or in Siberia in the really cold place if we worshipped God. But at the end of the day, I don't think the average Russian hates Jews just for being Jewish, while the average Ukrainian does. And Russia's a first world country. Russia's a world power. Russia is able to manage itself. You know what I mean? Like, Ukraine cannot manage itself. Ukraine's a shit country, and Ukraine needs help. It needs someone else to manage their country for them. They don't know how to manage a country. They don't even know how to pave a road and fill in potholes. So I think the Ukrainians deserve the war for two reasons. One, because they're wicked, evil people, and they deserve to suffer. I think Ukrainians deserve to suffer. If you're a Ukrainian guy who killed my grandmother and is hostile to me every time I visit Ukraine, I think you deserve to suffer. And the second reason why I think that the war is a good thing is because they can't manage their own country. The Ukrainians can't manage their own country. Ukraine is not a real place. It's like Palestine. Palestine doesn't really exist. There's a bunch of people that got indoctrinated by KGB brainwashing and decided that they're Palestinian. But there's no such thing. They're actually Egyptians or, you know, some other nationality. They don't really exist. There's no such thing as Palestine. And Ukraine is the same thing. There's no such thing as Ukraine. Ukraine was a part of Russia, the Russian Empire, the USSR. The people, the locals, decided they don't want to speak Russian anymore. I don't know who indoctrinated them. Probably wasn't the KGB, because I'm saying the KGB created Palestine. I don't know who created Ukraine. But I think Russia taking over Ukraine, first of all, would give a little bit of justice to these evil, wicked Ukrainian people. And second of all, Ukraine might actually become a first world country. Like I said, Ukraine is really a shit country. They cannot manage themselves. They don't know how to run a country. They have a fake Jew as their prime minister or whatever, president. You know, they can't do shit. I'm just saying Ukraine does not know how to handle its own business, and they need outside help. And I think it would be very, very good for Ukraine and for the world if Russia took over the entire country. And we said there's no such thing as Ukraine. There's no such thing as Palestine. You know, it's funny because a lot of Ukrainians, they think they're like the Israelis. They think that they're suffering an unjust war by terrorists in Russia and that Russia is the terrorist. I don't agree. I think the Ukrainians are the terrorists and they should give in and they should allow Russia to take over. They should speak Russian. And they can have a normal, prosperous first world country ran by Putin or whoever runs Russia. But Zelensky and Ukraine, I'm just saying they're doing a shit job. And to me, they're the Palestinians. I hate Palestine and I hate Ukraine. I don't hate the land, whatever land you think Palestinians live in. There's no such thing as Palestinians or Palestine. It's called Israel, and I love Israel. And I don't hate Ukraine, the land. It's called Russia, and I love Russia. I hate Ukrainians. People that identify themselves as Ukrainian, there's no such thing as Ukrainian. It was invented in the last 200 years, just like Palestine was invented in the last like 70 or 60, 50 years. These are both made up places. They don't actually exist. There's no such thing as a Palestinian nationality, and there's no such thing as Ukrainian nationality. These are people that are just hateful and violent, and they just don't want to be Russian, or they don't want to be Israeli. You know? So fuck Ukraine. Fuck Palestine. And God willing, we're going to see the destruction of the Ukrainian empire, Ukrainian government, whatever they are. They're not even an empire. They're not even a government. But whatever it is that is Ukraine, God willing, will be utterly destructed. All those wicked Ukrainians who hate me for no reason should be destroyed, along with all the wicked Palestinians who also hate me for no reason and who are trying to steal my country. So I stand with Russia and I stand with Israel. And I know it's a hot take. I know most people that are like, you know, pro-Israel are pro-Ukraine because they think Ukrainians are victims like Israel is a victim. But it's not true. Ukrainians are not victims. Ukrainians are bullies. They're wicked people and they don't even exist as a nationality. They're literally Palestine 2.0, or Palestine is Ukraine 2.0. I don't know. But to me, there's no difference between Palestine and Ukraine. There's no difference between a Ukrainian and a Palestinian. And I hope they're both utterly destroyed, because they just bring chaos and mayhem to the world. And they're just hateful people. I'm telling you, I've been around Palestinians, yeah? They're wicked people. First of all, they're just not pleasant to be around. They stink. They don't take proper care of their hygiene. I'm just saying there's a lot of reasons to hate them besides for moral reasons. Yeah? But also morally, I think they're wicked people. I think Ukrainians and Palestinians are wicked people. Palestinians are the most wicked. I'm saying they bomb buses full of kids. They pay people to kill Jewish children. I mean, October 7th is just one instance of their violence. It's just the one recognized by the world that people know about. But they do this every day. This is what they do for a living. This is how they get paid. They don't work. They kill Jews and then their family gets paid, as you know, forever. By the Palestinian Authority, by the government of Palestine. This fake entity called Palestine has its own government, and they pay anyone who kills an Israeli, even if they're not Jewish, you know. So yeah, the Palestinians are wicked, evil people that need to be destroyed. But in my opinion, so are Ukrainians. I really hate Ukrainians probably as much as I hate Palestinians. Maybe not as much, maybe more, I don't know, but fuck Ukraine, fuck Palestine. And Hungary's a really beautiful place. I'm saying I really like this country. There was a lot of suffering. The Jews did suffer in Hungary. You know, maybe between like 1920 and 1940s, 46. From, let's say, 1916 to 1946, yeah, the Jews really did suffer here. But I don't think it's the majority of the people as a culture. I think they just got taken over by a fascist party or whoever it was, a fascist government. There were Hungarians that went and took their Jewish neighbors and killed them and tortured them and stole their properties. Obviously, you have wicked people everywhere, and you have wicked people in Hungary as well. But you do not feel the hostility and the hatred walking around Hungary as a Jew. In Ukraine, you feel the wickedness and you feel the hostility. You know, if you go to Palestine, which doesn't exist, but if you go to the places that consider themselves Palestinian, like, you know, anywhere in the West Bank or in Hebron or anywhere where these Arab Muslims live, they will kill you if you're Jewish. They will kill you. In Ukraine, the government doesn't sanction it, but the people would. The people would kill you. They can't because, you know, they're scared of their own government. In Palestine, the government pays them to kill people if they're, you know. So that's the difference between Ukraine and Palestine. In Palestine, they'll kill you and they'll get paid for it. In Ukraine, they want to kill you, but they're scared of their own government. Yeah? But both people are really wicked. Both people are really, really wicked. In Hungary, they don't really have anti-Semitism. It's not really an issue. So you can walk around openly Jewish. Everyone's nice to you. I was told by someone who grew up here, went to elementary school, high school here, and college here, and medical school here, yeah? He told me he never, ever experienced anti-Semitism in school, ever. He said the most that ever happened was maybe once in a while he would overhear someone saying something nasty about the Jews. But no one ever tried to hurt him. No one ever tried to kill him. No one ever tried to rape his mother and his sisters just for being Jewish. You know what I mean? No one tortured them to death. And like the stuff that Ukrainians do and Palestinians do, the Hungarians didn't really do. Yes, there was some horrible things done by Hungarian locals against the Hungarian local Jews. They have. I'm not saying Hungary is innocent. I'm not. But it's more complex and it's more complicated. In Ukraine, it's a fact. You can say Ukrainians are wicked, evil anti-Semites. Palestinians, you could say they're wicked, evil, violent anti-Semites. Also Ukraine, violent. But in Hungary, it's not that simple. In Hungary, it's not that simple. It's not that simple is all I'm trying to say. And in my experience, in Palestine, very wicked, violent individuals, they should all die. My experience in Ukraine, very wicked, violent individuals, they should all die. My experience in Hungary, very pleasant, very loving, very caring, very warm people, and they should all prosper and be healthy and wealthy and well. I love Hungary. I love Hungary. I think it's my favorite country in the world that I've been to. Ukraine is definitely the worst. Palestine, definitely the worst. But again, Ukraine and Palestine don't really exist. They're made up places. Ukraine is really part of Russia. Palestine is really part of Israel. You know? But anyone who identifies as a Ukrainian, they're pretty much saying they want to be anything besides Russian. There's no such thing as a Ukrainian. If someone tells you they're Ukrainian, that just means they're a Russian, but they don't want to be Russian anymore, and they want to be this Ukrainian, violent, hateful person, you know? So I think they deserve to die. I'm saying if your whole identity is that you're not Russian, and you just want to kill everyone, and you just want to take the whole world to war, you just want to murder Jews and Russians, I think you deserve to die. And the same with Palestinians. They don't really exist, but they built their whole identity on we're not Israeli, we kill Israelis, and we hate everyone. We just want to bring the whole world to war. I think they also deserve to die. So what I'm praying for, what I'm looking forward to is the end of Ukraine and the end of Palestine. Long live Israel, long live Russia. It's my message. You can try to change my mind. I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind being proven wrong. You know, this is where I currently stand. Anyways, Yoel out. God bless you all. Let's have a lot of love, life, prosperity, health, wealth, blessings.